GSL.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the GSL Code A. I'm Artosis, and alongside me is Wolf, and this is the final group of the year.
The last group we're going to have of Code A for 2014, and 2 players are getting out. We have Fantasy playing today. A lot of people really want to see this guy get through, and so spread the word about that. Tell your friends. He's going to be playing our second match, but Youngwa is also going to be playing in the group.
That's right. Yeah, and of course, let's not forget about Stork. I think he's actually one of the favorites of the group. I really think he's going to be coming out here today. I really hope so as well. I am just so hoping it's Stork and Fantasy.
I think that's what everybody wants. Yeah. But best player will win, and then the second best player will get second and also go to Codes.
Maybe.
So,
probably.
most likely.
Possibly not, though. Crazy things have happened in the past.
That's true.
Sometimes you have a bad player that beats a good player.
Okay, the players that win will advance.
That is for sure correct.
And except in which case a player just wins and then retires immediately afterwards. In that case, the runner-up would probably advance.
That would be really rude. They shouldn't do that. We're gonna
Only Zhangbi ever did that.
Yeah, that's true, actually. We're going to be looking in a minute here at the players qualified for Codes so far. The Terran lineup really, really strong. I would love to add Fantasy to that. It would be so fantastic.
Yeah, let's take a look. In fact, you can see it behind us in Korean, but we'll have that lineup for Codes.
There you have it. There's the list. All right. So as you see, Byung got in today as well for Terran. So obviously a lot of Protoss here. We might end up half Protoss in the round of 32.
Yeah.
But
it's possible.
Yeah, it's still a very good Terran line, a very good Zerg line. There's not like a lot of people missing from either. Like Supernova's missing from Terran. Who else is missing from Terran?
Honestly, Sky High didn't make it through. That's about it.
Yeah, but I don't consider him like a top-end guy. I actually, there's
Bunny,
other Terrans like
also
better.
didn't
Yeah,
make it
Bunny. That is true. By the way, Bunny, what was his ID before? Do you know?
No, actually. I probably did at one point, but I've lost it now. He's going to be Bunny to me for now.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Look at this group today. It's pretty cool. Trust, kind of the underdog. You haven't heard of him as much.
Honestly, though, I would say Fantasy is the biggest underdog here.
Do you really think that?
I think so, because Trust has been fielded in Pro League for sometimes. Like he seems to be on one of the more winning teams. I feel like if Fantasy was in shape enough to beat one of these 3 players like consistently, or to beat these 3 players specifically consistently enough to get out of this group, we'd have seen him fielded in Pro League at least once in the past few months, and he has not been fielded even once.
That is true. That is true, but that means that he's practicing a lot overall. I gotta ask you. All right, let's do it. Let's do our picks. This morning, you were right, actually, right? Yeah, that's right. What are you saying this time, Wolf?
Stork and Youngwa are getting out.
Stork and Youngwa. I think that's a really great pick. I'm gonna go with Stork and Fantasy, and I'll talk more about that as we move forward. But
sure,
our first map here, Deadwing. Yep. I really want Stork to come out of here, man. If Trust beats him, it's just going to screw up my whole group prediction, my whole Codes season. Everything's going to be messed up. Well, I feel bad to say such things, but it's the truth.
It's the truth, Artos. Someone's going to lay down the law.
I need Stork to get through for sure. This guy has been playing so much better. He's actually one of the Protosses, I think, right now that people should start studying pretty soon. I'll talk more about that soon, too.
Alrighty, guys. Protoss versus Protoss. Stork versus Trust. You're in the last group for 2014 of the GSL Code A. Stork has paused the game. He has 2 pauses remaining. In order to unpause, press the pause break button.
To resume. The key to resume.
Right.
Okay, so, all right, I guess we can start talking about some of those other things. First off, the Fantasy thing. Like, why do I think he's going to get out of this group of 3 Protoss? And you're right, he hasn't been fielded. That's true. But if you look at the lineup of SK, it's, like, way deeper and way stronger than any other lineup.
That's
and there is a general feeling of Terran not being as good as the other races. And I think that the team probably shares these thoughts, right?
They do. Actually, Uwe said that in the closing interview that they had last time they played.
So I think that's why Fantasy is not being fielded. They're saying, you know what, overall, Protoss a little bit better. Overall, Zerg a little bit better. And if you look at their lineup, like, Su and Dark for Zergs, and then, like, the most ridiculous Protoss lineup you could ever even imagine, I think that is, and they might all even be better than Fantasy as well, but Fantasy is on the team with the strongest Protoss lineup in the world.
Sure, sure. I mean,
so his TVP should be sickly good. That's
really
that's my thought process behind Fantasy getting through.
Okay, no, I follow you on that. Oof said in the interview the reason he was asked specifically by Kanata, why aren't you using this guy in Pro League at all? And he said, well, Terran's not doing very well, and also, if I'm not mistaken, he just said, like, for us, we just want to win. We want the best players possible, and Fantasy, frankly, is not one of our best players right now, so we don't send him out. You know, we only send our best players out because all we're thinking about is winning. And then if Fantasy is good enough one day, then he can come out. Fantasy is disappointed also consistently in the past. A lot of fans in his Code groups. He's basically been kind of like Flash in that regard. Flash did get through this time, so maybe Fantasy can also ride off of that. But I just feel like the players in his group, especially Stork and Younghwa, are so many levels above. If I had to put faith in either Trust or Fantasy, despite Fantasy's StarCraft 1 career and history, I actually would put it in Trust because Fantasy has failed so many times.
So you trust Trust to beat my Fantasy?
Yeah.
I see.
I trust also in Younghwa and Stork to.
I've trusted in Younghwa enough times to be a little bit skeptical. I mean, Younghwa obviously is he's like a brick wall. I think
pretty much.
Not exactly because people knock him down, but that's because most of our players are wrecking balls.
Yeah. Pretty much. So we're gonna have the game restarted.
Yeah, and well, while that's going, I want to talk about Stork actually a little bit as well. Like something I've been saying is how I think Stork is one of these guys that people should probably start studying pretty soon. I don't think it's quite there yet, but I've seen these hints in his play that I really like. I'm looking at, and the thing is, for me personally, as a Protoss player, it's not stuff I do or use, but some of his gateway timings, the way that he attacks, some of these games like that Habitation Station one where he built 10 sentries and lost them and still won the game.
Yeah.
I feel like, in StarCraft 1, he wasn't known for good micro or, I mean, he had good micro and he had good macro, but this guy would it didn't even matter what happened through the game. There were games, I remember this one game in particular that really underlined what Stork does. PD, please turn off your mics.
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's got a problem with his keyboard.
Okay. Thank you.
They told us in Korean.
Please mute. Okay, this is I'm actually losing my mind.
Okay,
Thank you. Okay. Wow. So what was I saying? Something about Stork. Okay, Stork and gateway times. So a way this guy would figure out builds and execute them in such a way that it was almost unstoppable. There were games where he would go for a DT drop, fly into a missile turret, none of the DTs get out, and then he still beats the best Terran in the world. It's what? And then I'm starting to see this with him where he's going for these gateway timings or attacks and doesn't even execute it well. Still crushes. He just gets what he needs to have.
I feel like sometimes he's very much able to read his opponent's composition really, really well and warp in the right type of units in these scrappy engagements where you're oh, he lost all his sentries. How is he going to win? His opponent's got a bunch of speedlings and roaches, and he's able to warp in just the right amount of zealots to deal with the speedlings, and then is able to know exactly when to switch to stalkers to already prepare for the roaches that are being made that you can't see.
Yeah. He's really figuring out some of this stuff, really, I feel almost deeper than other people who are doing it, and I'm sure a lot of people are oh, yeah, 7 gate, everyone does. Yes, everyone does 7 gates, and yes, they aren't that hard to do, but the way that he's doing it is different. Trust me
subtle differences, for
there
sure.
And subtle differences are the differences between champions and people that don't get into Code S.
That's true. I feel I've been really impressed with his PBT, in particular, especially on Frost. Some of the games he's played against players like Maru and beaten them there. He's just really got solid late game. I had the pleasure of watching his game from first-person view, and I often do actually these days in Pro League because they've moved our desk because of the World Cup. There's been some construction in the studio. I'm sitting right in front of oftentimes where some of the players have their first-person view right underneath their booth, which if you come to the studio you can see yourself as well. But I've been able to see his first-person view play, and the way he moves and micros his units is actually insane. He's actually, it's quite a treat to watch. If he streamed, everyone would go nuts.
I'm sure.
He's actually so fast, so talented, and the way he reacts and the way he moves with his observer, the way I can see him move his observer through the base of a Terran, for example, is just he gets it out and still sees everything. He decides very quickly, very decisively how far he wants to go into the base before he needs to get out because he's just scared that a scan's going to kill his observer.
Yeah, he's a beast, man. I'm really excited for him to continue improving because I feel like he is motivated right now, which I don't always feel with these top old guys. Stork has nothing to prove. Like whether you think he's good or he's bad or whatever, like he has nothing to prove to you. To me,
he doesn't
to
have anything
anyone.
to prove unless he's playing against Flash, in which case he'll probably do a silly ceremony after he wins.
Yeah,
but otherwise, yeah, pretty much no.
Fair enough.
He also is really frank when he talks in interviews and goes on, talk shows with some of the casters and whatnot. He's like very much extremely honest about his opinion about balance and whatnot. Anyways, let's go into this game now. Stork. Oh, okay. Go ahead and intro the players.
All right, in the bottom right, our Protoss player, a legend from StarCraft 1.
Samsung Galaxy Khan Stork.
And up to the top left in red.
CJ&2's Trust.
He's pulling a fast one, man. His ID on the graphic has a lowercase s, but in-game it's got an uppercase s. What does it mean, Artosis?
Uh-oh. Maybe his name isn't Trust. Maybe it's True Street. You like that one, Wolf?
What if it's True Station?
Yeah, I suppose it could be True Station. True Street is a much better idea, though, so you should just change it without letting it know.
What if it's True Saint?
True Saint?
Yeah.
It would be Saint True. Oh, well, that would be like a big mistake, actually.
Yeah, he might just, maybe he's Korean, he doesn't know because they put the last name first in Korean, in their names. Maybe he thought he could reverse it somehow and...
Yeah, I guess that's true. Saint.
So obviously Stork is in here because he was seeded, as you can see at the bottom, and he has a pretty good win rate versus Protoss. Trust, on the other hand, not so much the best record, and he's did get through the qualifiers, so coming up rather than down, as Stork is.
Well, it should be a nice little PvP Deadwing cross spots. It's really, 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 really big. We'll have to see what what builds these guys are going for. Much quicker scout here from Stork, but that's like a normal scout timing, whereas Trust is just basically skipping.
Yeah,
like to scout like right around the same time as the Cybernetics core is so late on a 4-player map that you cannot even expect to find where they are before they have a stalker out.
True.
Street.
Well, this is one of the last times.
What if Stork is actually Street Orc?
Oh my god!
Maybe that was what he wanted. He's like, no, I'm a fresh hip hoppin' orc. I'm like, wow, that's a Street Orc. That's a terrible ID, Stork. No, Street Orc. Street Orc.
Well, listen to Street Orc. You spelled orc wrong, man.
Some people spell it O-R-K.
If you want to be an orc like from Lord of the Rings, you have a C. If you want to be an orc like the guy who made only Warhounds in the beta of Heart of the Swarm, then you spell it with O-U-R-K. Like, neither of those match up with this spelling, actually.
I think there is one fantasy series that uses O-R-K. I do believe so.
That's weird. Oh!
All right, well, did he actually see that Starport?
No.
He did not. Okay, so he doesn't really have that much information. Both players going Stargate. I wouldn't be surprised if they open Phoenix, but obviously the map is so big. I would want to open an Oracle here, but if you don't know what your opponent's going, I think you have to go Phoenix, or you might get blind countered.
Like Stork's about to be blind countered.
Yeah. The Phoenix opening going to give you a nice edge against the Oracle opening. It can be a very hard edge to overcome, depending on how it goes. Like if you actually get in there and kill 4 probes, then it's not so bad. But if they catch you on the way over, you kill nothing, then you are like really well behind.
He's actually waiting for it. That or a Mothership Core, whichever. Any flying units.
You know what he's doing here, Wolf?
What is he doing?
He's trusting his instincts.
Oh, okay. I'm pretty sure Peppy Hare once said that. Trust your instincts.
I don't know who that is.
Peppy Hare from Star Fox?
Oh, okay. I like the frog. What's the frog's name?
Slippy Toad.
Really? It's a frog.
Well, his last name's Toad.
So like his dad was a toad, but he took after his mom, who was a frog?
His father's name's Beltino Toad.
All right, now we have this Oracle coming in right now. Gonna have to use that Nexus Cannon. All right, so this wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, he's still going to get about 4 or 5 here. Maybe 6. 6.
Wow. That actually turned out to be good. He used up that energy, got 6 probes.
Will
That's
he actually get the
as you can
second
do.
one to do damage too? Because that would actually be incredible.
You don't expect a second one. To be fair, if he gets in there and does damage, that's pretty crazy. Probably leave it until the Nexus Cannon is done. Because, yeah, you really don't expect that. But we do have that Nexus started for his opponent. Whereas looks like Stork is just going to tech up to Blink. Oh, man, the second one actually could just devastate him. Well, I guess Stork is like really smart and good.
But he's just actually going to come in here while the
he's going to go right before.
He knows it's going to run out. Yep.
Oh my God.
Those Phoenixes are like going to turn around. By the time he gets back with those Phoenixes, the Oracle will be out of energy.
Yeah. Look at this.
Wow, so many kills.
Just ridiculous. 14 probes to 26.
And the lost mining time. And he's got Stalkers ready at home. Excuse me, Storkers here to defend.
Street Lackers. Alkers? Street Alkers? Okay, but I mean, this is 15 probes killed for 2 Oracles. Obviously very worth it. Yes, his opponent still has some Phoenixes. Yes, he has a Nexus up and a Robo, but his economy is so bad. What does he do? Does he, like, make a single Immortal and try to hold on like that?
I don't know. I actually don't think Stork is going to, like, try to... Do you think he's really going to do a big attack? Because I think he might just hold a Nexus.
Yeah, I think getting the Nexus is correct. Like, continually make your probes, but as Blink finishes, I would go up in pressure, I think. He's killed so much off. He did see some of the units his opponent has, which was a Sentry and a Stalker and a Mothership Core.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, there is a Nexus up that he could go in pressure, but he needs a bit more of a Stalker count before he ends up going over there to do that.
Thing is, if he does go over there, Nexus Cannon go up. So he has to decide, am I going to commit during a Nexus Cannon?
Yeah, that's a tough decision to make.
Yeah. Well, he is making that Immortal. Trying to get out probes as quickly as possible. Starting to recover a little bit because he does have such a quicker second Nexus.
Yeah.
And as he does catch up on probes, that actually it means a lot here. The map is so big that even with Blink Stalkers, it's going to take forever to get across. And over time, these Phoenixes, I do think, are going to gain some more value. They're going to pick up various probes.
Like that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, probe, you were designated as various.
That's right. Well,
these marinating probes over here not going to be picked off right away. So
yeah.
Just to kind of poke around. Not really sure what he's looking for with that, but I guess he's just trying to be on the edge. Edgy Phoenixes over here.
Well, we have right now a cannon on the way for Stork. Looks like he doesn't want to have to deal with these Phoenixes all game. The fact that there's still 4 out makes me think that this is an okay move to actually go for the cannon. They're going to be really annoying. The thing is, against 1 cannon, 4 Phoenixes will still fly in and kill a bunch of probes and then get out.
Yeah. I worry, I don't know, I don't think he can actually just directly move out, but the thing is, Stork, he's up in probes, but Trust still has mind a lot, and he's got the better composition, I would argue, with the Immortal already out here, and oh god, no way else this happened.
I would say right now, definitely he's in a nice spot, but I think that Stork's going to add on probably Colossus tech here, and, you know, he's going to be able to make a very scary army indeed. What is Trust going to go with, though, right? His Forge is a little bit late. He's still making Immortal, so he's a little bit afraid of a frontal attack. But I think he needs to drop the Immortal production just for a little bit and get a little bit more infrastructure up.
I think he's going to add his Bay, actually. Wow. Oh my god. 7 health left. He would have killed it with 1 more shot.
Yeah.
But he did force the Nexus Cannon out a bit wastefully. Might as well be dead on, and I mean, not obviously, but like, since he used the energy, it's not useful for anything for a while. So about the time that it would take to remake one. Obviously saves the money. But
Stork just can't kill these guys.
Yeah, he was just very conservative with them, I would argue, Trust. He's like never really overstepping his bounds. He's always aware of where the Stalkers are, and then when he comes in to kill the Mothership Core, the Stalkers he knew that were just a little bit away.
Yeah. And look at this, Wolf. Kind of interesting. We actually see Stork, who opened up with Blink, go into, looks like just normal like Archon. We'll see Charged pretty soon.
By the way, I want to point out just really quick before this is off screen that all of these Phoenixes are in the red. That's how careful he microed them. Like,
yeah, that's pretty crazy. But
yeah, going back to
I feel like that's a little bit of, like, that's really good micro and really good control. But I've never seen anyone plan exactly that. That's like really hard and kind of lucky based upon where Stalkers shoot too. But, I mean, everything has been very good for Trust as far as his Phoenix harassment goes. But he's going into Colossus, and he has 4 Immortals. So, you know, he's setting up an army that is going to be ridiculously hard to stop with a Blink Stalker-based army. And I wonder what Stork is going to do from here.
Well, he's going Archons right now. He does have a fast +2.
Yeah.
Has he actually... I don't know if he actually identified the robotics bay with that observer. Did it get picked off first?
I believe he does not.
He sees it. So, that's really interesting. I wonder what he's going to do because we should lose 1 Phoenix here.
Finally.
Blink a little bit late, but it doesn't really matter. I like, again, Trust composition that he's building. The Colossus versus Archon argument always gets better the more Colossi you have, generally.
Yeah.
Until like there does become a point where that kind of shifts when you get up to like 4 or 5 Colossi. But if you're not pressured early, once you get this many Colossi out and your opponent's going Archons, you can identify that. You can take a 3rd base pretty comfortably, especially on this map, because the 3rd base is on a 2nd high ground. Nice feedbacks there.
Yeah, very, very nice trap set up there.
Picks up a probe, he's like, wait, I can't shoot these.
Not sure what he's doing with that, wasting time.
Well, I guess like if you pick one up and let it down, it doesn't go back to mining automatically, so he forces Stork to like click on it.
Yeah, I suppose. I think he's using much more time than Stork would have to, but...
He also probably wants to free up some supply. I mean, eventually he's going to need to have better units.
You want to know one thing I like about this Colossus choice from Trust? Is on this base, you take a 3rd base, and or on this map, you take a 3rd base, and it's on the high ground.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. I think this is like the right choice for the map.
Well, what about Stork, though? Like, he's getting, I guess, a slightly quicker 3rd. He's going to have harassment potential. He has such a...
He has the army to attack, but is it the right composition? I don't think so. In fact, without Archons to break forces... Oh, well, this is a big problem. He's moved way too far out here.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was thinking here, but... Anyways, what I was saying is he's got the army to move out against this type of army going up the ramp. It's going to be tough, but he didn't secure the ramp, so... He has to cancel that Nexus. If he can get a tight wall, Trust that is, then this one, then it's going to be a lot easier for him to defend this type of harassment, this type of attack, because Charged Zealots and Archons are the bulk of Stork's army. Another Colossus about to pop as well.
Trust was definitely way out of position there. That was quite a mistake, but you know, this is exactly what Stork needed. If Trust had been able to just secure that high ground location, then Stork would have been in a bad spot, because eventually he'll just get so many Colossi. He'll be way ahead in that. They'll both be maxed, and the ball of Trust will just be better. But as is Stork with that additional base, he's going to be able to go into double robo. He has his Warp Prism out for harassment, and he definitely has a much more mobile army.
Well, I am actually surprised Trust is going to move out here. He's about to have +2, and he does have a lot of Colossi, but still, that's all it counts, 18 to 13. Stork just has so many Archons, too. Those Archons really make the Zealot count like almost non-important.
I would say if he actually goes forward and attacks, he doesn't even have a pylon across the map. I think that Stork wins that battle pretty handily.
Yeah, I think so, too.
And if he wins the battle, the game is over, because it's 3 base against 2. You have to utilize your higher Colossus count. But
all right, they're going to engage now.
Oh my god, here we go.
Time Warp here really good, and a second Time Warp is excellent here from Stork. Blinks forward, starts targeting those Colossi down. And I think he's got plenty enough to deal with this.
Yep, it certainly looks like it. He has a ton of units here, and Trust, just an ill-fated attack from the get-go. This was never really going to end up working out.
It sounds a bit weird to say, but I feel like the things we were talking about Trust being smart about, the Colossi, the controlling the high ground, controlling that 3rd base, GG, those things we were talking about, I don't think he was actually thinking them. I think he was actually just going to a Colossus-based army. I feel like if that was his plan from the beginning, the extra gateways he added earlier, he would have added them on the high ground, and would have already had the infrastructure ready to take a 3rd base.
Yeah.
That weird move out that he did leads me to believe he never even wanted to take a 3rd base in the first place, and he actually planned on doing a timing.
Huh. Might be. It might be. You know, against someone that goes for a blink-based composition, a lot of times they will go into like Colossus tech, and if that had been the case, he had 4 Immortals to help counter like a wide variety of units that Stork coulda, shoulda, woulda had, maybe.
Yeah.
Theoretically, maybe. It's, I don't know. That game was a little bit weird in each way, I think. Well, Stork takes game 1. So far, Wolf, we're on track for 2 more legends from StarCraft 1 to make it into Code S.
Could happen. I definitely think Stork is getting out today. In fact, I would go as far as to say he's getting out first. Like, in my mind, there's no doubt. But, you know, he's got to win this match first. Overgrowth is going to be the map that Trust picks. Trust does not look confident going into this one, whereas Stork looks relatively bored, like, okay, that was easy. What are you going to throw at me next?
Well, this is, we actually talked about this earlier where you're saying, you know, Flash's opponents played scared. Same thing with Stork. Stork, like, part of his power is that you're afraid of him because he's a literal god.
Yeah.
An actual literal god.
He's been described as one, man. Well, Stork, a legend, one of the old Protoss from StarCraft 1, is one game away from going to that winner's match. Let's find out if Trust can tie it up.